What's up, guys? This is Kephas. Welcome back to WoW Classic, everyone. We are still in Ashen Vale, questing, trying to get some levels. I am getting hurt pretty bad, really quickly. I might actually die here. That's cool. Nope. Okay, we're good. Wow. Gotta watch that Void Walker when he comes back. Okay, there are enemies all over the place here, so this is gonna get a little crazy. Yeah, I'm gonna run. I'm just gonna run away. Wow. There are imps everywhere, there are Void Walkers everywhere, and Warlocks everywhere trying to kill me. So this place could get a little bit dicey, but I'm looking for another gem, and then we've got this quest up here, where it wants us to find some hair. I don't know, it's some type of item that probably is one you gotta pick up off the ground. That could get a little bit difficult for me, but we will see how it goes. And if things don't go very well, we'll just move on to somewhere else. But let's go ahead and re-summon our, if I can remember the button, there we go. Get our Void Walker back out. Wow, okay, so yeah, I didn't see all those guys. Welcome to Classic with the blind guy, everybody, where you can't see things because it doesn't show the nameplates until you get close enough. So that's part of the problem, but it's okay. We'll figure it out. We'll get it. Oh, we can also take these guys out because they're good XP and they also give skins. So I'll be just grinding, honestly, a lot today. That's kind of the plan, which is fine. I always like to say I like going for things that are not too terribly difficult to take out. So, but yeah, so Classic is still a lot of fun, obviously. Now, I need to be careful because I'm starting to pull threat again, and that's one of the things that I really enjoy about Classic, and it's like something that I've kind of learned as I've been doing research for all the classes to understand how they're to be played. Whoa, what the heck was that? Oh, that was another player. Okay. But there's a lot of there's a lot of tactics that you use in Classic beyond just here's the rotation, do it, and you're good. There are a lot of cool tricks to learn with every class, really, and in terms of how to play and how to keep up, prevent yourself from having too much downtime. But downtime being the time that you need to stop and refill your health and mana. For example, obviously having a weapon swing timer is very much necessary if you want to be efficient, if you want to make the best use of your spells, but also for a warrior, and even like a shaman, any class that's a melee class, maybe not a rogue, but like a warrior, maybe a paladin. You can, well, I don't even know if paladin has the abilities, but anyways, a hunter's another good example. But you can kite the enemy. So as a warrior, you can use hamstring to slow down your enemy, and then because they're slower, you can move back out of melee range and prevent them from being able to attack you, and then move back in when it's time for your weapon to swing. So you can use weapon swing timer. So if you look on the bottom, well, by my health, you can see my wand swing timer is going off, right? Now, the bottom, there's two bars for a warlock. The top one's the wand swing timer, and then the one below that is the weapon swing timer. But as a warrior, you'll just have that one bar. Unless you have two weapons, it'll be two bars. There we go. That's what I'm looking for right there. Cool. So the map add-on is helpful. See, this is why having add-ons is very useful for me, because I can find things. So yeah, having that weapon swing timer can allow you to actually prevent yourself from taking more damage, which means that you don't have to stop and heal up as much, which is very nice, very handy. It's a little bit more effort. You have to keep track of your swing timer. You have to try to move back and forth. It's not as simple as just standing there and killing the thing, right? But it can allow you to be more efficient. And so stuff like that, which is very minor, and it requires more effort. Something you wouldn't think about beyond just the, oh well, Classic has such fewer abilities. It's yeah, but Classic has a different approach to combat in general that you don't deal with, in later versions of the game, because you don't have to. And that, you know, some people may not like that kind of combat, but I think it's something to point out. Like, when you're leveling in Classic, there are a lot of things to consider. Even like, you know, me fighting those elks as a warlock here, and to get those skins, like, I was pulling threat a lot. So, you know, I have to back down, you know, all my abilities, on my dots, so that way I'm not, like I'm doing right now, I'm pulling a little bit too much threat. I'm getting a little bit strong. I might need to look into, you know, why that is now, because I was able to pull off all 3 dots, and my warlock, my voidwalker would maintain threat. Now I'm just kind of using the 2. You know, there's a lot of things like that as you know, with your classes. Like, for example, another good example is when you're playing as a shaman. If you're playing enhancement, you don't really use lightning bolt that much, but you can use it to pull, right? So you can use it to pull an enemy close to you out of like a dangerous area, away from other enemies. And one of the tips that, you know, is often given is like, use rank 1 lightning bolt, because your spells have multiple ranks, right? So use rank 1 lightning bolt, so that way you get the need to pull the enemy, right? But you're not spending your mana. You know, stuff like that. That's cool, because, you know, that's just something that, like, you know, just something different that you can do to be more efficient. And it's, you know, like, I always find spell ranks to be annoying, but in situations like that, I'm like, well, spell ranks are actually kind of cool. There's something to them. There's something cool that you can do with them, and you know, like, to be more efficient depending on the situation. So, you know, just little, I want to call them nuances, because these days they seem like nuances, because, you know, in a way, like, it feels like the depth in combat, like there's more depth in combat, maybe not in spell, you know, abilities, but in terms of just the actual, like, mechanics of combat as a whole with each class. Even just, like, you know, using my wand instead of Shadow Bolt to replenish my mana, because mana matters in this version of the game, whereas in, you know, modern WoW, mana doesn't seem to matter so much unless you're an arcane mage. And I'm not, like, you know, like, for those of you that like both WoWs or like modern WoW, you know, it's not like I'm dumping on WoW. I don't know. Maybe I don't even need to explain myself anymore. Like, you compare the two and you explain which ones, what about each one you like more. And, like, I guess, you know, sometimes you feel like you have to, you know, well, look, I'm not dumping. It's like, I'm not, you know, get over it at this point. Like, people are going to like what they're going to like, I guess. And yeah, I need to be careful. Ooh, got stunned. I need to be careful here. Let's fear this guy. Didn't see this other one. Get away from me. I did find another one of those items, though, so that's cool. Look at us, we're at 80% in the level. But yeah, just like little things I've noticed from, you know, just doing some research. You know, I check a lot of different sites, and you know, different, you know, there's a really useful Reddit page for WoW Classic that I want to have in my videos. That's helped me out a lot, just learning different things about, like, what you can do in Classic. The biggest challenge to doing research on your class in Classic is a lot of information. As I've said, I think I've said this before, but a lot of information is out of date because it relied on, you know, data collected and experience had from, you know, private servers, and they didn't get everything correct, or at the very least, things are different in retail Classic than they are in private server Classic servers. Wow, that's really complicated. You know, so, like, you have to kind of, you know, look at what actually works. Like, I was looking into this really cool paladin build with an ability under the protection tree, and, you know, it sounded like it'd be a lot of fun to do, but apparently that ability wasn't working as it was originally meant to work. As it, you know, the way it was working on the servers, it wasn't working that way in the old days, and so that build is useless now because it doesn't work in the same way in Classic as it did on the private servers where they got the information for it. So, you know, guess you can't do that. You can't use that build. That sucks. Because honestly, like, from my understanding, I might be wrong about this, but just from what little bit research I've done on the topic, protection trees seemed mostly useless, right? Like, as retribution, you skill up in ret and then you switch over to holy, like, you finish off your talents in holy to get consecration, right? So, and I think even if you're playing as a tank, you still, from what I understand, you mostly spec up in ret. which is unfortunate. It's a you know, it's one of those things where obviously having more balance and you know, things weren't exactly perfect back then. So, you know, because when you have entire trees that are basically useless, that's not good. But, you know, we're creating the authentic experience, and no one's ever said it was perfect. It's just that people like it better than the other experience, right? So that's kind of the idea. But, you know, there are definitely things about it that's like, man, that sucks that's not more useful. But I just, like, I miss having, you know, I do like having the freedom in Classic. And that's why when I do my guides, I'm not going to give a, well, one of the reasons why I don't like to give, you know, builds. People always like, what talents do you use? Like, I'm not like, well, for one, I change them all the time, so it doesn't matter, right? Because like even in retail, I'm always testing. Like I always mess around with different talents, so it's like I don't know. Like I use different ones depending on the situation. In Classic, can't really do that as much, but I don't want to like just give you some talent build, like because there are lots of cool talent builds to try, and no, that's one. Number two, it's like, you know, it would be a long process to go through a talent tree. You know, that's just a lot of, not a lot of work, but it just goes against what my guides are about, which are really quick, really straightforward guides. And, you know, you can easily look up, you know, classic, you know, class talent builds, right? Like it takes literally 2 minutes to look that up. And there are tons of different options for you to check out. Oh crap, I'm going to die here. I didn't realize I had pulled this other guy. That sucks. Alright. Well, what can you do? Let's get back. Whoa, I'm all the way up here? Jeez.
One eternity later.
I actually died twice in that attempt to get back. I was in the middle, like I was in the thick of it. There's even a guy right there. I need to be very, very careful. I lost another soul shard, so that sucks. Yeah, so when you die in the thick of things, it can get really dicey really quick. But looks like we're okay now. Don't have any mana, but I have plenty to drink, so not a problem at all. I'm gonna eat a fish, get some mana and health back up. But yeah, so anyway, we'll try this again, see what we can do. These enemies are a little bit stronger. Well, they're not stronger, but they're just higher level, so they're closer to my level. So I can't really take on as many, obviously. Certainly can't take on like 5 of them. So, but yeah, I kind of, well, it's been a couple minutes. It's only been a couple seconds for you, but it's been a couple minutes for me. But, oh yeah, talent builds is what I was talking about. Yeah, so I don't like to give talent builds. And there, like I said, there's a lot of reasons why. Obviously, I want to encourage people to, you know, come up with, like, do their own, like, go for what works for them. You know, that kind of thing. That's one reason. Another reason is I like my videos to be shorter. That's the goal. So trying to go through a long talent build is like, yikes. You know, that would take you know, a long time just to get through the talent build alone. So that's another major reason. And then, like, honestly, the last reason is because it's one of those things about WoW. No matter who you ask, like the most the most skilled class player, like warlock player, could tell you what the best build is, right? And be like, this is what works the best. I'm the #1 warlock in the world. No one does more DPS than me. Whatever. He could tell you what the best build is, and there would be people that would say he's an idiot, he doesn't know what he's talking about, right? Like, it's one of those things where when you try to get into specifics, then it almost always leads to people trying to debate you. You know, like, debate you is what I meant to say, not to bait. And I don't like doing that. I don't like wasting my energy on that nonsense. Like, I want to be as accurate and correct as possible, you know, and that's why, like, you know, a lot of times, like, you'll give a guide, you know, and you'll say, like, you know, this is what I recommend. There are other options. People will say, you're wrong, you should have done this. And I'm like, I recommended this. There are other options, because there are sometimes, and like a lot of times things will change. So you're like, I swear it says there's one here, but I don't see it. This is one of those quests that, like, is hard for me because these things are kind of hard to see. So I'm just gonna try to be careful and just go around where they are. See, there are 2 guys here, and this is where things suck. This quest, I've gotten so close to finishing it that I really want to finish it, but I don't know. We'll see. You gotta go. You quit stunning me, jerk. You've got to run away. Like now. Get out of here. Please. Leave me alone. Okay, we can finish you off. Hopefully I haven't taken on more than 2, because like that last time, 3 of them kind of found me, so that wasn't good. I will probably be leaving Ashenvale soon, maybe. I don't know. I want to go explore the shore, and then I think maybe going back over to Red Ridge will be fun. The thing about Red Ridge, though, is there's going to be a lot of people there, so I'm going to have to like compete. And then some of the quests are going to be difficult to do solo, so I won't be able to do too much, but we can always move on from Red Ridge to Duskwood, which is a good leveling zone. There's a lot of easy grinding spots there, and like some skins that you can get and stuff like that. So but yeah, anyways, just like I like to share, like I know a lot of people who watch my videos like the guides, so I like to kind of, you know, give some thoughts and just different things that I'm learning. Like there's a lot of cool stuff that I'm learning to do, and you know, just a lot of cool different, there's a lot of cool different builds, really. I mean, for some classes. For other classes, like, it's like, this is the build to do. Like, this is the way to go, at least. Maybe you can do some variations. And that's the thing, is like, a lot of times, like, you know, a lot of the research I've done, people will suggest, like, you know, it depends. Like, as a shaman, for example, it depends on what weapons you want to use. Like, if you're not going to use a sword and board, or at least a shield and a mace or whatever, then you don't need to put points in shield specialization, right? But if you do want to use a shield, then obviously you want to put points in that. It just depends. So, like, shamans have weapon specializations, specific ones. Like, there's ones, I think there's one talent where you can actually, like, it lets you use two-handed maces and axes, which is kind of funny. Like, that's through a talent. You can't use them until you learn that talent. It's kind of funny, but that's an example of it depends on what weapons you want to use, and I like that, man. Oh, there's 3 guys there. I gotta be careful. I like that there are, you know, there are quests like that. Like, or not quests, what am I talking about? I got distracted because I'm like in the middle of like 5 guys. I gotta be careful. You know, there are talent builds that you can kind of adjust based on your playstyle, your preference. There might be something more efficient though, and that's the thing. Like, it just depends. Like, when you get to end game, it might be different. There might be like, no, you want to go with this weapon combo or whatever. It also like might depend on what weapon you find. Like, if you go do Scarlet Monastery, for example, not Scarlet Monastery, what's it called? Shadowfang Keep, and you get that awesome two-handed axe, and you're playing a shaman, like, you might want to get that ability to use that, because that's a really good weapon. There's other good weapons as well. So it just, like, it might depend on what you get. Only thing that sucks about Classic, in that regard, is that you can't just change your talents on the fly. I mean, you have to pay a lot of gold to do that, and that, unfortunately, like, I kind of get why that's there, but I also hate it because I don't like, even in, like, when they added in, like, respecs in Diablo 2, I thought that was a good thing, because not being able to do that, like, the fact that you can actually mess up your character, it's very old school, and for some people it's like, oh, it's cool. I don't like it only because it discourages experimentation, and I think that you should want to encourage your people who are playing your game to experiment with all the different options that you've created, but at the same time you want your options to be meaningful. So that's why putting like a cost is nice, because it makes you feel like every choice matters more. If you can just change everything on the fly, then the choices don't matter as much. So it's very complicated in terms of how do you do talent trees and picking talents in a way that allows you to experiment, but also encourages you to make smart choices and make those choices feel meaningful. That's, you know, that's kind of tough. That's a tough thing to kind of balance. You know, these don't really give a lot of health. I'm just gonna throw them out. I would love the scroll of protection. That's going to help out a little bit, unless I die in like 2 seconds, which could happen. I am out of inventory space too, so that's always fun. If I have a hard time finding these, by the way, I will do this off screen. I will wrap up and like just try to find the last 2, so that way this quest isn't, whoa, that's not good. This quest isn't wasted. But this could very much be a problem right here. As long as our Voidwalker can handle it, though, I'm going to try and see if we can kill these two, because luckily they're melee, so they might not be too big a deal. But I think it's a good. I mean, I don't have the answer to it at all. I don't know what the best way to do it. I wouldn't even know where to begin. Talent trees, I like them a lot. I think that I like building out your character a lot. I think it's fun. But I also like, I don't know. I feel like you know, there's a game, you could never do this with WoW, but there's a game that the way you build up your character is really cool. I think it's not very deep, but it has a lot of cool, like the way it works is kind of neat. I don't know if anybody's ever played the Fable series, but recently I've been like just dipping back into it because it's been forever. And you know, like Fable, I have a lot of mixed memories with it. Like the first game was like really, really cool when it first came out. I loved it, but it's also kind of weird and quirky and kind of janky because it's older. And then of course they did a remaster for it called the Anniversary Edition, and it's like really jank. Like I think it's even more jank than the original. I don't know how they managed that, but it does feel like it's really, really messed up. I'm looking for something that I can just get rid of. You know what? This isn't worth anything. I want this. These mitts are cloth mitts, and I think they are maybe an upgrade. Yes, they are. They will give me spirit and stamina. Cool. I will equip those right now. These things? Yeah. Yep, those. Okay, cool. Cool, look at that. We actually got an upgrade. That doesn't happen very often. No, we don't want to. Okay. Having spirit is very nice, so I want to keep that up as much as possible. But yeah, Fable 2 is a really cool game. The first one was janky. The second one is... I'm playing it now. I played through the first one, and now I'm playing through the second one, and I love it. The combat system in it is really, really awesome. So, like, basically in Fable, there are 3 trees. There's the skill tree... Or, I'm sorry, there's the strength tree, which is like your melee attacks. And you can also increase your health, right? And then there's the skill tree, and that's your gun attacks, your ranged attacks, which is mostly guns or crossbows. And that you can obviously increase your ranged attack damage. You can also increase your speed. So even with your melee attacks, your speed goes up. And then there's will, which is magic, and there are like 8 different magical options, and you can level up each one of those. Oh cool, we leveled up, speaking of which. One of the cool things is that as you put points into each of those 3 trees, it changes the appearance of your character. So like, as you put points into the physical tree, you get buffer, like you get huge, ripped. Like you start off being this like little scrawny kid, and then you grow up, and as you level up in that tree, you become like this just buff dude if you level up in physical. And then if you level up in will, you get all this cool like magical effect on you, and it looks kind of neat. But what's cool about it is the experience that you gain is based on which type of combat you rely on. So like if you use your melee weapons a lot, then you level up your physical, like you gain physical experience, and then you can spend that on your physical abilities. It's kind of like how Oblivion worked, or Skyrim, like where whatever you use gets leveled up. So it's very natural. I really like that type of progression because, you know, you can kind of experiment with everything and then level up everything slowly. The problem that would come in for a game like WoW is that like you can't just be everything, right? You can't just have every like talent. You'd be too powerful. They would have to tune the game to a great level to make, you know, for you to be like even remotely, like for the game to be even a remote challenge. Like, and you wouldn't be different from anybody else because everybody would have everything. And you know, like you could probably extend out the time it would take, but like, I mean, geez, you're talking about like sooner or later people are going to. There's one finally. People are eventually going to. You know, they're eventually going to cap out everything. It's just people are going to, like, you can say, we will devote, you got to do 10,000 hours to get everything. Dude, people will do that. Like, people will eventually, whether it takes them years or however long it takes, people will eventually do it. And maybe if it took years, maybe. But then again, if you make it too long, then people just won't care. So, like, I don't know. It's not a perfect system, but it's definitely, like, for single player games, it's a lot of fun. I like it better than like talent builds. You know, I hate when single player games have talent trees. I prefer that kind of system, like a system that's more organic, I guess. I can't even get that. Man, that sucks. But you know, I don't know what the solution is for an MMO. Like, what's the best way to build your character? I don't know if any of you guys have ever played an MMO where you like the way you build your character more. Most MMOs I've played use talent trees. The only one that I can think of that doesn't use a talent tree is Final Fantasy, and that one there isn't really a build. You just kind of level up. I don't think there's any like way to uniquely customize your character in terms of like, you know, talents. Actually, now that I think about it, what's cool about that game though is that you can be every class with one character. So that's where, like, you know, the depth, I guess, kind of comes in. Plus you get like all kinds of abilities. You do like class quests to unlock those abilities, which is kind of fun. Kind of like how you do in Classic. There we go. So like there are a lot of cool things that you do in Final Fantasy that kind of make up for it, but it doesn't actually have a talent build. And I mean, maybe it says something because like I didn't even notice it, like I didn't even miss it. So maybe, I don't know, maybe like, I don't know, it's tough because I feel like I enjoy talent trees, or at least the ability to customize my character based on my desired playstyle. I feel like I like that, but at the same time, it's hard to find a balance between, you know, having a complex, deep character building system like in Classic, but then also having a means to encourage like experimentation and try out different ideas like in retail. I mean, you can do it in Classic. You just got to be able to make a lot of money to do it. And maybe, I don't know, man. So anyways, I've been talking about that forever. I don't know if there are tons of enemies here, and this quest will probably lead to me dying a lot. So I might go ahead and pass on this one. We are level 22. I'm gonna go turn this other quest in, and then we will try and see what's over on the shore over here. Maybe do one of these quests, and then we will eventually maybe head out of here and go back to Red Ridge. That place will be a little easier, I think, but we won't be there for long. But hey, we can just mess around and go to different places. But thank you guys for listening to Talent Talk today with me in Ashenvale. We will continue our adventures on the next one. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, let me know by clicking that like button, and feel free to share it with your friends so they can enjoy it as well. Don't forget, you can subscribe to the channel and click on the bell icon to be notified as soon as new videos are posted. You can also follow me on Facebook and Twitter, and if you'd like, you can support this channel on Patreon. Links to all of this can be found in the description below. This is Kephas. Until next time.